This is impossible. Look at the size of these cobs. It is a miracle. We will be rich.
Day 1. The land looked lifeless. For as far as the eye could see, there was only dry orange sand. No grass, no trees, no sign of water. Local people said nothing useful had grown here for hundreds of years. But a small group of farmers believed something different. Early in the morning, they arrived with simple tools and a clear plan. First, they marked long, straight lines across the desert floor. Then they began digging deep trenches into the hot sand. The work was slow. Every shovel of sand revealed more dry ground underneath. After the trenches were finished, trucks delivered rich black soil from another region. The farmers carefully filled each trench with the dark soil. Next came the most important step. Long black drip irrigation pipes were placed beside every trench. These pipes would deliver water directly to the roots and prevent waste under the burning desert sun. By sunset, the empty desert had changed. Rows of black soil stretched across the orange landscape. The ground was finally ready, and tomorrow the first corn seeds would enter the desert. The next morning, the real experiment began. The prepared field waited silently under the rising desert sun. The farmers carried bags filled with carefully selected corn seeds. These were not ordinary seeds. Each seed had been chosen for strong growth and the ability to survive difficult conditions. The farmers moved slowly down every row. At equal distances, small planting holes were made in the dark soil. One by one, the corn seeds were placed into the ground. Each seed was gently covered with soil. The work continued for hours. By midday, hundreds of seeds rested beneath the surface. But seeds alone could not survive here. The desert air was hot. The sand was dry. Without water, the experiment would end before it started. The farmers opened the irrigation system. Slowly, clear water began moving through the black pipes. Drop by drop, moisture reached the hidden seeds. The dark soil absorbed every drop. For the first time, water entered this new desert field. Nothing could be seen above the ground. But below the surface, something important had already begun. The seeds were waking up. Several days passed. Above the ground, the field still looked quiet. The desert sun continued to beat down on the dark soil. Hot winds crossed the landscape every day. But beneath the surface, the corn seeds were changing. They absorbed more water. The outer shell softened. Tiny roots began pushing downward into the moist soil. Soon, the first shoots started growing upward. Then one morning, something remarkable happened. Small green tips appeared above the soil. The first corn seedlings had emerged. The farmers inspected every row carefully. Not every seed had germinated, but most of them had survived. Day after day, more seedlings appeared. The dark rows slowly turned green. The drip irrigation system continued supplying water directly to the young roots. This was a critical stage. The seedlings were still fragile. Strong winds, extreme heat, or a lack of water could destroy the experiment. Yet the young plants continued growing. For the first time, living green corn was visible in the middle of the desert. The experiment was no longer hidden beneath the soil. Now everyone could see it. The days continued to pass. The young corn seedlings were no longer tiny. Each morning, the plants seemed a little taller. Their roots pushed deeper into the rich black soil. Their leaves stretched wider under the desert sun. The irrigation system worked every day. Small drops of water reached the roots exactly where they were needed. Very little water was wasted. This helped the plants survive the harsh conditions. Soon the field began to change. The green rows became thicker. The corn plants started covering the dark soil beneath them. From a distance, the farm looked like a green island surrounded by endless orange sand. The farmers continued monitoring the crop. They checked the irrigation pipes. They removed unwanted weeds. They watched for signs of disease. So far, the plants looked healthy. The strong stems continued growing upward. The broad leaves captured sunlight throughout the day. Week after week, the cornfield expanded. What had once been a lifeless piece of desert was becoming a living ecosystem, and the most important stage of growth was still ahead. Several more weeks passed. The corn plants were now taller than many of the farmers working in the field. Their stems had become thick and strong. Their leaves formed a sea of green across the desert farm. Then another important change began. At the very top of the plants, small clusters started to appear. These were the tassels. The flowering stage had begun. Soon more tassels emerged across the field. Every day, the tops of the corn plants became fuller. At the same time, a different structure started growing along the sides of the stalks. These were the young ears of corn. At first, they were small and difficult to notice, but they continued growing larger. Fine strands known as corn silk slowly emerged from each developing ear. The wind now played an important role. As it moved through the field, pollen from the tassels drifted through the air. Some of that pollen landed on the corn silk. This process would determine the future harvest. Without successful pollination, the ears would not develop properly. The farmers watched closely. The desert experiment had reached one of its most critical moments, and so far nature was cooperating.